Welcome to Thoughts and Theories. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that nothing around you has any built-in meaning. The words on your phone, the job you're stressing about, the people you love, even the idea of you, none of it was ever assigned a purpose by the universe. That thought can be terrifying, but also strangely freeing. This question, what if meaning doesn't exist, but we create it, sits at the center of one of the oldest struggles in human thought. It's not a new idea. Philosophers, from Nietzsche to Camus, from Sartre to modern existentialists, have all wrestled with the idea that life might not come with instructions. But let's start simple. What do we mean when we talk about meaning? Meaning is that invisible structure we put around our lives. It's what makes us say, "This matters." It's the difference between just breathing and living. For centuries, people found meaning in religion, in the belief that life had a divine plan, that suffering was for a reason, and that death was just a doorway to something higher. But once you remove that foundation, once you step into an atheistic, secular worldview, the question becomes harder. If there's no cosmic purpose, no God writing our story, then what are we doing here? Some people find this question depressing. They think that without an ultimate meaning, everything collapses into nothingness. But others see it as the start of genuine freedom. Because if meaning isn't given to us, it means we have the power and the responsibility to create it ourselves. Jean-Paul Sartre, the French existentialist, put it simply, "Existence precedes essence." In other words, we exist first, and only later do we define what that existence means. A knife is made with a purpose, to cut. But humans, we're thrown into the world without a manual. It's up to us to decide what we want to be, what we want to stand for, and why we get up in the morning. This sounds empowering, but it's not always easy. Let's be honest, most of us don't wake up feeling like philosophers. We wake up tired, scrolling, late for work, worried about rent or relationships or health. When life feels random, creating meaning feels like a luxury. But here's the thing. We already do it, every single day, often without realizing it. Think about a parent raising a child. There's no cosmic reason they have to love that child. Yet, through care, through sleepless nights, through sacrifices, meaning is built. Or consider an artist painting a canvas. The universe didn't demand that color meet canvas, but through that act something beautiful emerges. Meaning isn't discovered under a rock somewhere. It's created through living, choosing, doing. Albert Camus, another existentialist, used the myth of Sisyphus to make this point. You know the story. A man cursed by the gods to roll a boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down again and again, forever. For Camus, that's life, repetitive, often absurd, sometimes cruel. But he adds something crucial. We must imagine Sisyphus happy, because even in a meaningless universe we can rebel against despair by choosing to give meaning to our struggle. The act of pushing the stone becomes meaningful because Sisyphus chooses to keep doing it. You see this all around us. The scientist dedicating decades to studying something that might never fully be understood. The writer pouring their heart into words that might not be read. The person volunteering at a shelter even though they could stay home. None of these acts are necessary in the cosmic sense. But they matter. Not because the universe says so, but because we say so. Here's something fascinating about human psychology. Studies show that people who believe in some form of self-created meaning tend to have higher life satisfaction, even if they don't believe in any external or divine purpose. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote about this in Man's Search for Meaning. Even in the horror of concentration camps, he noticed something remarkable. Those who could find personal meaning in their suffering, however small, had a better chance of surviving psychologically. He wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. But that why doesn't have to come from religion or fate. It can come from love, from art, from responsibility, from curiosity. Frankl didn't mean we should invent illusions. He meant that meaning can arise even from brutal reality when we face it honestly. Now, there's an objection people often raise. If meaning is created by us, doesn't that make it fake? Isn't it just pretending? It's a fair question. But think about language. The words you're hearing right now, life, purpose, truth, they're all human inventions. Yet they're real. They shape the world, they build civilizations, they comfort and destroy. Just because something is created doesn't mean it's meaningless. In fact, many of the most meaningful things in life, music, friendship, love, art, exist because we made them. Take love, for example. Biologically, it's just chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. But does that make it less real? Of course not. Those feelings, those shared moments, those sacrifices, they are meaning in motion. Meaning isn't a cosmic gift. It's a human project. This idea, that we create meaning, can feel unstable because it removes certainty. There's no universal script anymore. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe meaning that's chosen is stronger than meaning that's inherited. A child who grows up believing life has one fixed purpose may find comfort, but they may also feel trapped. When you create meaning, you live more consciously, aware that your choices shape your world. Let's use a real-world example. Think about space exploration. From a cold, indifferent universe, we decided to look up and say, let's go there. There's no cosmic rule saying humans must reach Mars or send probes into the void. Yet, we do it. Why? Because curiosity is meaning. Because when we look at the stars, we want to understand where we came from. Not because someone told us to, but because we choose to care. Even small acts matter. Someone planting a tree, knowing they won, to live to see it fully grown. That's meaning. A nurse working long hours to save lives, that's meaning. A musician creating songs that might only touch a few people, that's meaning. None of these require the universe to have a plan. They only require us to care. Of course, this perspective has a shadow side. If meaning is something we create, then we're also responsible for when it breaks. When we lose someone we love, when a dream collapses, or when the world feels too chaotic, we can feel that our meaning has shattered. And that's when nihilism creeps in. The belief that nothing matters. But nihilism isn't the end of the road. It's a stage. It's the moment before rebuilding. Nietzsche called it the most dangerous guest, because if we let it stay too long, it paralyzes us. But if we face it, if we let it burn away false meanings, it clears the ground for us to create new, honest ones. So maybe the question isn't, does meaning exist? But how can I live meaningfully, knowing that it doesn't exist on its own? That's the real challenge of being human. The universe doesn't give us answers, but it gives us the chance to ask. And maybe that's enough. Meaning isn't out there waiting to be found. It's right here, in the questions we ask, the people we love, the things we build. Think about your own life, the things that have truly mattered to you. Your relationships, your struggles, your small victories, weren't handed down by any cosmic authority. You made them matter. The joy you felt, the pain you overcame, the connections you formed, that's meaning. Not discovered, but created. And when you realize that, the absurdity of existence becomes less frightening. It becomes an invitation. The absence of cosmic meaning doesn't make life empty. It makes it open. You can fill it with whatever you find valuable. There's no script. There's only the story you choose to write. So maybe meaning doesn't exist in the stars, or in sacred books, or in destiny. Maybe it exists in the simple act of being here, aware, alive, and able to choose. And maybe that's enough.